Hi, my name is Aditya and I am the CEO of Automaski. Today I am going to be talking about the race for global domination. I mean, the layman, the common average citizen does not realize, what is happening in the world at the global stage and where are we headed. Uh, Everybody in the world is fighting in a race for global domination, which we are going to talk about today. But before that, a little bit about Automaski. We've been working on complexity theory since late 80s. We solved P is equal to NP in early 90s, got into quantum physics in mid 90s, and within a few years realized this universe is a simulation, and that too a linear order simulation. And that implementing physics won't require of the order of 2 to the power 3n complexity, but rather of the order n complexity. We had developed our rudimentary quantum computer a few years later, but only in 2014. When there were massive publications, we figured out which gates to implement and what algorithms to benchmark and test with. Hence, we implicitly achieved quantum supremacy in early 2015 by virtue of having created the world's most powerful billion qubit infinite precision quantum computers. 2 years back, we simulated quantum gravity with a billion qubits. 6 months back, we publicly launched our RSA 2048 cracking service, available for anyone who cares to pay money and use it. Till then, it was available only to Department of Defenses and agencies around the world behind closed doors. And today, we are working on our quantum gravity computer based on causaloid formalism. Again, if you think of it, the core quantum gravity computer at Automatsky has been ready for years now. We've been playing with it and trying incremental changes. Just that we don't know how to make use of it because there is nothing published or available out there which shows how something like a quantum gravity computer can be used to solve real world problems. A small piece of advisory before we proceed. Please proceed with caution. If this presentation goes against your belief system, then please ignore this presentation, stop the video, and focus on things you're passionate about. If for any reason you believe contrary to what has been explained in this presentation, please stop the presentation and focus on things you are passionate about. If you are respectful and polite, I would love to answer any questions you might have or to listen to your thoughts. Feel free to email info@automaski.com. Global domination. It is also called world domination or world conquest or cosmocracy. This is a hypothetical power structure, either achieved or aspired to, in which a single political authority holds the power over all or virtually all the inhabitants of Earth. Various individuals or regimes have tried to achieve this goal throughout history without ever attaining it. The theme has been often used in works of fiction, particularly in political fiction, as well as in conspiracy theories, which may posit that some person or group has already secretly achieved this goal, particularly those fearing the development of a new world order involving a world government of a totalitarian nature. The most profound question in the history of mankind that has been posed and that is posed before us today is as stated in Alice in Wonderland: who is to be master? This question was answered in the 17th and 18th centuries by the country which possessed the biggest navy and the most colonies. In that case, Great Britain was the master. In the 19th and 20th centuries, it was the country that had the most advanced military technologies and the biggest industrial base, including nuclear weapons. In the end, the United States emerged on top. In the 21st century, supremacy will belong to the nation that controls the future of information technology, which is quantum computing, which is quantum, you know. As we will see, it would be a mistake to assume that the United States is destined to be in this position. In the topsy turvy, counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics and quantum computing, decades long dominance in IT doesn't automatically translate into dominance in the coming era. So, what's at stake? Don't be under any wrong impressions. Any individual, organization, or country which conquers artificial intelligence will rule the world for the next 100 years. We are talking about AI, not about deep learning or reinforcement learning, which have nothing to do with AI. Artificial intelligence. And any individual, organization, or country which conquers quantum computing will rule the world for at least the next 1,000 years. Now, deep learning is not AI. Medical imaging doesn't work. There are no self driving cars. Medical diagnostics was a sham. Vision is still not a solved problem. GPT and transformers are basically brainless parrots. Reinforcement learning hasn't achieved anything in the real world besides playing well structured arcade games. And yet, even otherwise, these things don't lead to AGI. These things are not intelligence or artificial intelligence. But even if you could achieve and conquer artificial intelligence, you would get to rule the world for the next 100 years, approximately. But in the end, quantum computing will be the decider. The implications of the quantum race are profound. The outcome will determine the 21st century answer to an age old question, the one posed in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland: who is to be master? The race. Today, more than 20 nations are competing to win the quantum future. One of those is the United States, whose major IT companies, Microsoft, Intel, Google, IBM, are currently leading efforts to develop the world's first fully functional quantum computer, outside Automatsky, obviously. Another competitor is China, which recently announced that it will create a $11 billion, 4 million square foot national quantum laboratory in the city of Hefei. Anyone, everyone's brother, father, mother, sister is into quantum computing. SoftBank's $100 billion Vision Fund plus Saudi Public Investment Fund is eyeing investments in quantum computing. Shu Nyata, who helps invest money for the fund, said the group wanted to find and back the companies whose quantum computing hardware or software that runs atop it would become the de facto industry standard. MIT raised $1 billion for School of Artificial Intelligence and Computing. The Stephen A. Schwarzman College of Computing will create 50 new faculty positions and many more fellowships for graduate students. Alibaba pumps $15 billion into quantum computing and AI. They announced its new Damo Academy for Fundamental and Disruptive Technology Research. Damo is a sequel to Alibaba's NASA plan announced earlier last year, which involves more than 20,000 scientists. The company describes Damo as an independent R&D department fueling an economy that serves 2 billion people. A billion euro 10-year quantum technology flagship project will pursue advances in sensors, communications, and computing in Europe. The US House Science, Space and Technology Committee have approved the National Quantum Initiative Act on 27 July 2018. The bill is to invest more than $1.2 billion in quantum information sciences. In 2013, the UK government announced a £270 million national quantum technology program, which provided investment for research and development into quantum technologies, primarily in universities. Russia is also investing in quantum computing, spearheaded by the Russian Quantum Center. Scientists at the Russian Quantum Center announced in July 2017 that they had achieved a major breakthrough in creating a quantum computer that can do general computations, an important landmark on the road to quantum supremacy. Even North Korea has announced plans to become a quantum power in the 21st century. If you look at the global R&D spending and the way it is distributed across the globe, from Canada, United States, Mexico, Argentina, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Turkey, South Africa, Australia, China, Japan, South Korea, and Russia, you will see the United States leads by spending $463 billion on R&D. China $377 billion. The European nation combined in totality invests around $346 billion. Japan $155 billion and South Korea $74 billion. If you look at the top 20 companies in the world spending on R&D, you will find companies like Amazon, Alphabet, Intel, Samsung, Microsoft, Huawei, Toyota, Johnson Johnson, Daimler-Benz, Bosch, Facebook, Cisco, Ford, etc. Moonshots. Alphabet spent $30 billion on R&D in the last 12 months, and that alone makes up for more than half of the gap between the US and Chinese government-funded R&D. Alphabet isn't spending $30 billion on optimizing Google search or YouTube's next video feature or figuring out how to finally make lookup work in Google Sheets. It is spending it on home run ideas. There is a reason it used to have a group called Moonshots, now called X Development. Alphabet has invested and continues to invest in pure R&D ideas like Waymo for autonomous vehicles, Dandelion in geothermal energy, Malta in salt-based energy storage solutions, Tara and Loon in ubiquitous networking access, and DeepMind in complex AI innovation, just to name a few areas it has and is investing in. This is the landscape of investments Alphabet or Google has made. Google has been relegated to just this one rectangle on this entire map of the Alphabet group of companies and efforts. And they are together called the Moonshot Factory, the X, program. Alphabet isn't the only public company investing in moonshots that used to only come from government funding earlier. Intel is regularly seeding future innovation. Boeing and Airbus invest billions of their own money in creating technology for planes that might not fly for a decade or more. Last year, public Chinese companies spent $190 billion in total R&D. They effectively doubled the government's R&D spending. US corporates spend 540 billion in total R&D. That doesn't just make up for the government funding differences. That investment alone blows away the Chinese government and corporate spending combined. But yet, the biggest myth we carry in our minds is in the domain of innovation, inventions, and breakthroughs. If we invest $500 billion in R&D, we will win. The results are obvious and guaranteed. That is not how it works. If you invest $500 billion, yet there is no guarantee of making any millennium breakthroughs or making any breakthrough inventions or innovation. The other myth is that if we invest $500 billion and they invest only 350 billion, then we will win over them. It doesn't work like that when it comes to innovations, inventions, and breakthroughs, especially millennium breakthroughs. Money is required, investment is required, but in the end, it is not just the money that matters. We'll come to what matters the most. Let's look at a gentleman called Samuel Pierpont Langley. He had what we assume to be the recipe for success. He was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out his flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and he worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere and everyone was rooting for Langley. Then how come we have never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright, they had none of what we would consider a recipe for success. The people who believed in dreamed, Wright brothers dreamed, worked with them with blood, sweat, and tears. The ones who worked for Langley just worked for the paycheck. The Wright brothers had no money. They paid for their dream from the proceeds of their bicycle shop. Imagine inventing flight from the proceeds of a bicycle shop. Not a single person on Wright brothers team had a college education. Not even Orwell or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. Yet they were the ones to invent flight. You know why? Blood, sweat, and tears. Automasky. Who do you think is Automasky? Automasky has had billion qubit quantum computers in production for years now, and that too with infinite precision. Its quadrillion annealer is its pride. Its quantum gravity computer in terms of computational power is next just to God himself. And Automasky is not desperately trying to build anything. It rarely does anything much other than chit chatting and wasting its time nowadays because it has already built and invented all of these things in mid 1990s. Kids. We've been there, done that. We just want to say that you cannot fuck around with Automatsky and hope to trick it or force it into giving you its inventions, or to hope to succeed or survive in this millennium. But if your brain is in your dick and you are compulsively obsessed with screwing around, then you should definitely try messing around. We don't see anyone stopping you. After all, it's a free world. But let's see how that goes. We sacrificed our entire lives, the life experience and the future of our entire extended families. We paid for our success with our blood, sweat, and tears. That's the only reason we won, where 8 billion people, 100 Nobel laureates, 100 million PhDs, and $100 trillion had failed. Blood, sweat, and tears. Congratulations. You might not want to believe it, but either way, this is the way it is, and it is not going to change. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Thank you and hope you have a nice day.